Hello, 大家好, I'm Grace. Today, let's do a challenge. As you know, in Chinese, we use different tones to distinguish the meanings of words. Just as I've mentioned in one of my videos, na and na have the same consonant and vowel. The only difference between them is they have different tones, which makes them have different meanings. So to understand and speak Chinese, you need to be able to hear and distinguish the tones. So today, let's do a Chinese tongue challenge to see if you can differentiate between them. Before we dive into today's challenge, let's first do a quick review of Chinese tones. If you don't need to review, feel free to skip this part and jump to here on the timeline. In Mandarin Chinese, there are 4 tones and a neutral tone. The first tone is a high and flat tone, like 今天 are both in the first tone, so both of them are high and flat. 今天. The second tone is a rising tone. It starts with a low pitch and then rises, like 学习, 学习. The third tone is the opposite of the first tone. Most of the time, it's a low tone. Like 好吃, 好吃. The fourth tone is a falling tone. It starts with a high pitch and then goes down, like 下雨, 下雨. The neutral tone is a light and short tone, like 桌子, 桌子. Now grab a piece of paper and a pen and write down the numbers 1 to 20, as there are 20 questions in total. In order to test your ability to distinguish Chinese tones, many of the words in the test were chosen to be either more advanced or are less common, so you don't have to feel bad if you can recognize them. For each question, you will first hear a phrase, and you will need to focus on the red word in the phrase. I will repeat the word in red again after saying the phrase. All you need to do is writing down the tones of the red words. Here is an example. 哲学问题, 哲学. And then you need to write down their tones. Okay, are you ready? Let's get started. 华裔美国人，华裔。不要栽赃他，栽赃。诊断结果，诊断。盯着那个人，盯着。感到疲惫，疲惫。沉浸式教育，沉浸。受到谴责，谴责。文化传承，传承。 欣赏风景，欣赏。掌握技巧，掌握。一家团圆，团圆。受到启发，启发。咨询专家，咨询。对别国施压，施压。得到授权，授权。抓到诀窍，诀窍。通货膨胀，膨胀。打开盒子，盒子。油价飙涨，飙涨。突然领悟，领悟。Congratulations, you finished the challenge. If you feel comfortable, share your results in the comments below and let me know which tone you find the hardest to distinguish. Today's challenge is for you to self-evaluate how well you can distinguish Chinese tones and find out those that you might have problems with and improve on them. Once you can hear the difference between different tones, it's going to help you tremendously with your Chinese pronunciation and comprehension. Okay, then that's it for today. 如果你喜欢今天的挑战，别忘记按赞和订阅哦。Also, don't forget to share this with your friends who are also learning Chinese so they can test how good they are at distinguishing Chinese tones. Last but not least, if you'd like to learn some daily Mandarin expressions, check out my Instagram, Grace Mandarin. 那我们就下次见喽，拜拜。